In 2022, Honda sold 1.3 million cars in China. The following year, 1.25 million. And then the year after that, 850,000. This year, they're on track to sell less than 800,000. Their sales are falling in China, but the point remains. Who makes Honda's cars for them in China? Is it Honda? No, of course it's not. It's actually Dongfeng and GAC. Now, somebody should tell Honda this because I think they've actually forgotten this information, right? Honda's CEO in Australia, who he's from the United States and worked for Honda in the US for a long time, he has said that Chinese car brands will go bankrupt in Australia and that their products are not good quality. This is a direct quote. He says that he thinks that parts from their doors will fall off. So if that's the case, then why exactly is Honda, right? Why are they getting Dongfeng and GAC to make their cars if these Chinese automakers produce cars that are such low quality? Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. Their chief executive, Jay Joseph, has warned that China's car brands in China, many of them will go bankrupt. He says, particularly in Australia, they're just going to leave Australia. It doesn't seem realistic that all the brands that are competing in Australia today will remain viable, said Joseph. He's basically saying that these car brands from China will cease to exist, many of them. Interesting. He said these are brands that are selling less than 1%. They're not selling enough vehicles to sustain a dealer network that would be able to service vehicles in a profitable way. YouTube's new algorithm means that you're often not getting all of our videos in your feed. There's 7,500. I'm pretty sure you're probably not seeing a lot of them. In the description, there is a link to our newsletter. Click on that and you can get an update every day of all the latest news in the electric car industry. Joseph, who had worked for 27 years at American Honda Motor Corporation before his appointment as CEO, says Australia is the most competitive and fragmented auto market in the world, with some European and Asian car makers struggling to remain profitable. He said some automakers are designing by superstition. Superstition, right. There are 70 brands in this country vying for 1.2 million new car sales per year. He's referring to Australia. Compared to all my prior history in the United States, where there's 42 brands competing for 16 million new car sales, that's a much easier pie to slice. Well, tell that to Lucid, Rivian, Chrysler, some of these brands that are really struggling. Anyway, Joseph says that Chinese car brands will face a turbulent decade after their meteoric rise on the global market. It seems unrealistic that after a period of rapid growth, there won't be consolidation and collapse, and some of these companies will not survive. In Australia, China is now the second largest source of new vehicles behind Japan, but it will soon overtake Japan, with brands like BYD, Great Wall Motors, MG, Zeekr, XPeng, Polestar gaining in popularity. Credit where it's due. The Chinese car makers have been on the steepest learning curve in the history of the auto industry. They've gone from zero to competitive faster than any other nation in the history of the auto industry. Now, if they'd really gone from zero to competitive within a few years, as he's implying, then I don't really understand why this dude from Honda doesn't understand the car market, because the truth is, Chinese automakers have been making cars for Honda, for General Motors, for Volkswagen, for Mercedes, for Audi, for BMW. They've been making their cars for them for more than a decade. So does that mean that BMW's cars in China were just shit boxes 10 years ago or today? Does that mean that basically every Western automaker's cars were pieces of junk, going from zero to hero within a few years' time? No, it doesn't. I mean, that's an interesting myth that the West would like to believe. It's like that sort of exceptionalism, that idea, we're better than them. We are the almighty, powerful Americans, and we make the best stuff. China's done this so quickly. They've done it so quickly, it's been a meteoric rise. They've gone from nothing to hero, and surely that means they're due for a collapse. But not us at Honda. We'll be fine because we're American, or we're Japanese, or we're the West, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. That's what it kind of sounds like to me. Resync Solar is the company that I used. I'll put a link to them in the description below. Joseph argued that some newer brands are designing by superstition rather than through engineering experience gained over time. One of our advantages at Honda is that we've documented everything that ever went wrong with any one of our products, he said. Now, if they did in fact do that, document everything that ever went wrong of the hundreds of recalls they've had, well, they might have, but I'm not sure they're reading into that stuff too well these days. Think about it. Honda's being disrupted right now. Yeah, they're being disrupted by Chinese automakers. And that's probably a bit more important than documenting every little tiny mistake, every little bolt that's sheared off, etc., and focusing on that. He said if you design from a philosophy of understanding how to prevent something from failing, that's very different than just copying a design and hoping it works. Yeah, that's a good point. But how exactly then are GSC and Dongfeng making your cars for you if they don't have this information? Joseph said quality differences may be less pronounced in the electric era where powertrains have fewer moving parts and more standardized components, but manufacturing discipline remains an important part of the process. And that's exactly right. Yeah, right now you can go to a couple of different brands. You can buy an entire skateboard from them. BYD, CATL, there's a few companies. You don't need to do much, right? That's the entire drivetrain. That's your battery pack. That's the structural part of your car. That's your chassis. There's not a lot you need to do beyond that. Anyway, he said this: it matters how you attach the inner door panel. He's implying that the Chinese don't know how to do this properly. It matters how you install the glass. The sequence of doing things affects whether your headliners fall down after 5 years of UV abuse or just normal wear and tear. So does this mean these Chinese car brands, their headliners will fall down after 5 years of UV abuse or normal wear and tear? Well, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Is this going to happen in the BYD you just bought or the vehicle that Tesla made in China? Is that going to happen to those cars? What do you guys reckon? Joseph predicts industry-wide upheaval in the next decade. The auto industry has these reckonings, especially in times of financial crisis, which seem to happen about once every 10 or 12 years. We'll see who's still standing at the end. Pretty bold words from a company that doesn't make any electric cars. Really. At all. Except for a mini box. You know, that little mini box. They're going to bring that out soon. That could do all right. But really, Honda, they're the old guard. Guys, Honda, you're being disrupted. If you want to be left standing in 10 years' time, you don't want to be Nokia and you don't want to be BlackBerry. Thanks for watching.